When we think about ways in which we can prevent the occurrence of anxiety, and by the way, we're always interested in prevention, these are things that are rarely been thought of in our culture. We go back to thinking about children and how children behave. Oftentimes, they seem the most anxiety-free, and so we don't bother them with thoughts about anxiety or how we might address anxiety. One thing that I am aware of is that nobody ever spoke to me about my thoughts when I was young. And people that experience anxiety are mostly experiencing problems with the way they relate to their thoughts. This is a matter that is rarely addressed. So one way to start thinking about prevention is to start thinking about how you relate to your thoughts. What do you do when you have a worry? How do you relate to unusual sensations in your body? How do you relate to thoughts about the future? If these things produce distress in you, then developing a new skill on how you relate to thoughts might be very useful. One new, and I shouldn't say new, it's new in our cultural awareness, but age-old in its actual presence on the planet, is something called mindfulness. Mindfulness is just a simple form of meditation whereby we would sit for 5 minutes perhaps in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening to just watch our thoughts and other experiences, even sensations in our bodies, as the observer, watching it pass by us, as I like to say, like a breeze blowing by our cheek. Thoughts come and go in and out of our awareness, like a siren might come in and out of our awareness passing by our house. We'd want to learn how to watch thoughts without being distressed, how to experience sensations in our body without being distressed. Now, those 5-minute periods are just practice for our real lives so that we could start to notice when we become involved in our thoughts rather than our real lives. One thing we'd like to do is to notice if we've gotten involved unnecessarily in our thought process. Try and let the thoughts go. Congratulate yourselves for having the awareness that you got distracted by your thoughts, and ease yourself back into the present moment. Yet another strategy is to be staunch or dedicated to not avoiding. If you see yourself avoiding situations because of anxiety, we really need to think about ways in which we can approach these things. Commonly avoided situations might be things like going to the dentist, air travel, asking an individual out on a date, going into social circumstances, or coming to see your psychologist. If one is strongly avoidant, learning some skills to allow yourself to feel anxious but engage in the behavior anyway. Often, as soon as we start the behavior, our distress goes down. A good example is skydiving. We've actually studied skydivers and know that their anxiety is worst right when they're about to exit the plane. When they open that door, skydiver, particularly a new skydiver, will be tremendously anxious. But as soon as they step over the threshold, their anxiety is dropping as their body is dropping. So learning how to move through anxiety rather than away from it actually increases our confidence and decreases anxiety. These are just some of the skills that might be preventative when we're thinking about anxiety disorders.